Dying Light 1 is a cool little zombie apocalypse game, which this guy has been asking me to have fun with for like 2 months at this point. I'm not kidding, almost all of his comments on my channel are him asking for Dying Light 1. So to congratulate the dude for his dedication, I've decided that maybe I should check out Dying Light after all. So yeah, in this video, we're gonna immerse ourselves in the zombie world of this game. Wait, did I say zombie world? No, more like the scary, super pixelated, headache-inducing Celeron world. Speaking of Celeron world, PC specs time. They are an Intel Celeron Champion, which has Intel HD graphics base rail. Yeah, what a name for a graphics card. Thankfully, thanks to a recent upgrade, my potato now has 8GB of RAM, so we are good in terms of the RAM department at least. So now that we know the specs of my top of the line gaming laptop, let's see how the game ran at first.
12 seconds later.
Oh boy, 7 to 8 FPS in the bloody main menu! As for settings, I used the lowest ones that we can use by default of course, and the 1024x768 resolution, which is the lowest resolution allowed. Yeah, you know it's gonna be good when the lowest resolution allowed is 1024x768. Oh, and by the way, during actual game, I got like the same FPS that I was getting in the main menu. So I guess Dying Light 1 is one of those games that tell you how it runs on your PC just from the main menu. But we're still gonna try to make it smoother, because we're part of the PC master race after all. So let's go! The configuration file of this game can be found in Documents, Dying Light, Out, Settings. The video.scr file is the configuration file. Now, contrary to what the screensaver master race might think, no, it isn't a screensaver. To open the config file, you first need to open Notepad. Then, in Notepad, go to File, Open, then go to the config folder, choose all files to be able to see the config file, and finally double click on it. You might also want to make a backup of it just in case you somehow change your mind and decide to revert what we're gonna do in a moment. The first thing that we're gonna change is the textures. Now, the worst textures that the game allows you to use by default are medium textures. But if we change the texture quality value to low, make sure to write it with a capital letter, we can unlock the hidden low textures, which look noticeably worse than the stock low medium ones, as you can see. Below the texture quality value is this range one, which some people claim that changing it to zeros helps, but I didn't notice any visual nor performance change by modifying it, so just leave it as it is. Now this is a big one. The shadow map size and spot shadow map size values control the resolution of the shadows. The way that these values behave is actually kind of interesting, because first of all, if you set them to 0, the game just crashes after the title screen, but setting them to 1 does the classic low end no shadows thing. Well, almost, because the shadows, well, they actually still exist, they're just trying to be visible on the screen, but at the same time they like almost can't, because we've set the shadow resolution way too low, which causes them to flicker like crazy, which might more or less cause seizures problems for people with epilepsy. Now, I know this recording isn't exactly a good demonstration of the shadows flickering problem, since I made the mistake of recording the game internally on a Celeron that is at 100% usage in its natural habitat. Don't record Dying Light 1 internally, by the way, if you also have the Celeron N2840. So instead, here's an external recording that I made using my phone with the shadow resolution value set to 1, which more or less shows what I'm talking about. But I will also show you how to get rid of what's left of the shadows in a while. And by the way, I was also playing in the 640x480 resolution when I made this recording, so I will also tell you how to play Dying Light 1 in this resolution and even lower, so keep watching. Below the values for the shadows is the grass quality value, which you might be tempted to set to 0 in order to remove the grass, but no. What this does instead is it increases the foliage quality to high. So yeah, do not do it. Also, if you're wondering, no, increasing the grass quality value above true does not make the grass look crappier or remove it altogether, so you might wanna leave this value true as it is instead. Finally, I'm going to lower the resolution of the game to 640 by 480, which is the lowest resolution that works with full screen mode. If you want to use a lower resolution than 640 by 480, then all you need to do is run the game in windowed or windowed borderless, then, well, change the resolution from the config to below 640 by 480. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. You can go for any resolution you want, such as 480 by 360, 320 by 240, 144p, 81p? And now it's time for some modding! We're gonna be using two mods from Nexus Mods, the popular FPS tweaks for low-end PC one, and this recent one which is literally called Dying Light Low-End Mod. I will share the links for the mods in the video description of course. I'm going to combine both of the mods. To install the FPS tweaks for low-end PC mod, first go to the folder where you installed the game, and in it go to the DW folder. Make a backup of the data3.pack file in case you decide to revert the changes later, because this is the file that we will be replacing. Now, the mod also comes with a low-end config file, but we already modified the config, so we won't be using it. We're going to be using the so-called original mod, because we don't care about anything better looking here. We want as much FPS as possible. Just drag and drop the data3.pack file from the mod into that DW folder I told you to go to, and replace the original file that I told you to make a backup of. And to install the Dying Light Low-End mod, first of all, go to Documents, Dying Light, out once again, but this time go to Data, Scripts. Make a backup of the true files here in case you want to revert the changes later of course, and drag and drop all the files from the mod to the scripts folder minus the inventory folder, because it's actually another mod which basically gives you lots of ammo. It's completely optional. And with that, we've installed both of the mods. I'm also going to be using the 320 by 240 resolution, and by the way, I've also lowered down the field of view to as low as we can from the in-game settings in order to squeeze one extra FPS I guess. And guys, what you can do to make the game run like in full screen mode, if you don't want to play in a small window, is right click on your desktop and go to the display settings. Then yeah, it's taking a while for the Celeron to open the display settings apparently. The video hasn't frozen. Hello? Celeron? Are you here?
2,000 years later.
So, as I was saying, go to the display settings, and from there, go to the advanced display settings, display adapter properties for whatever display, restore modes, and select the lowest resolution available, which is 640 by 480 at least in my case. Then click OK and apply. Go back to the normal display settings and wait like an hour for the Celeron to load the normal display settings. Oh my god! And with all these modifications applied, plus the beautiful Nintendo 64 240p resolution, the performance is now slightly better than before. Speaking of the Nintendo 64 resolution, at first I thought, Dying Light isn't all that bad at 320 by 240, until a zombie grabbed me and I couldn't figure out which key am I supposed to press to push it away from me, because the text is unreadable at this resolution. And while I was bashing literally every single key like an 8-year-old kid rage quitting in Roblox trying to push the zombie away, I ended up quitting the game accidentally. So I increased the resolution back to 640 by 480 and it was a lot better, at least in terms of how pixelated everything is. In addition, I figured out which key to press to push away a zombie from you. Spoiler alert, it's the F key. Oh, and by the way, there isn't any performance difference between the 320 by 240 and the 640 by 480 resolution in this game on my ideal Lenovo laptop, because the fast Intel HD graphics based something are being severely bottlenecked by the super fast Celeron Champion and that's more potato than a fucking 2006 mobile Core 2 Duo. So what you see right here is probably the best that you're going to get with the specs from this video. But hey, the shadows and a few other effects are now gone. No flickering issues by the way. So all in all, can this be considered a win? Well, kinda. I mean, I guess we went from 6 FPS to smooth like butter 10 FPS. Plus, we also made the game look sort of like a PS2 title, so have a good day.